Hey, what's going on, my fellow idiots? Welcome back for another episode of Idiot Proof Cooking. Now, you likely noticed that I didn't have a video again last week, and honestly, it's just because I've been enjoying taking more time to relax and not focus on the channel. Honestly, it's a grind to release 2 episodes a week with all the filming and editing and voicing over and eating all the food that I make. It's an absolute grind. So for the time being, I'm just going to take life easy and make less videos. I'll likely get back to making 2 episodes a week at some point in time, but for the time being, I just want to take life easy and make less episodes. But speaking of which, let's get into today's episode. Obviously, as you know, it was Easter last weekend, and I'm sure, like me, you had a ton of Easter candy lying around, so I'm going to make a mini egg cheesecake with the literal ton of Cadbury mini eggs I bought for Rose and JP. Got a big bag of it here. This one we didn't even open up, and I think a mini egg cheesecake will be pretty tasty. Now, we've got to start off with a graham cracker crust, so into a mixing bowl, add in 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs and then 3 tablespoons of white granulated sugar. Next in is 8 tablespoons of melted salted butter, and then we're just going to mix this all together with a spoon or a fork or whatever you have until the graham cracker crumbs are thoroughly coated in butter, and if you were to pick up a handful of the crumbs and squeeze them together, they stick together like wet sand. Now we're then going to get out a 9-inch spring-form pan, and I've lined mine with tin foil here because they have a propensity for leaking, and we're just going to pour all of our graham cracker crumbs into the 9-inch springform, and then we're going to spread it and press it down with a ramekin. We're just going to make a solid base of graham cracker crumbs. Press it down nice and hard. You want to make sure that the base is nice and solid, and then preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to bake the graham cracker crust for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes until it hardens up a little bit and it'll turn slightly more golden brown than they already are. Now, while that is baking, let's get out our mini eggs because we're going to crush these up. Now, as you can see, Rose and JP came clamoring for some, so there you go, Rosie, you have a couple there, and we'll give a couple to JP. They are taste testing the mini eggs for us. They're big fans of them. And then we're just going to get out a Ziploc bag and pour in a good amount of mini eggs because we want to crush them up. We don't want to put the whole mini eggs into the cheesecake. I want to crush them up into little pieces, so I'm just going to spread them out in my Ziploc bag here, and then I'm going to smash them up with my meat mallet. But really, you could use whatever you want. You could use like a mug or something to smash them up, but you want to just break them into little pieces. And as you can see, JP is really interested in the smashing of the mini eggs. So set those aside, and as you can see, I poked a hole in the bag by accident, so I'm just going to brush up these crumbs here and pull out another mixing bowl because it's time to start making the cheesecake part of the cheesecake cake. So into a mixing bowl goes in 4 8-ounce bars of softened cream cheese and then 1 cup of white granulated sugar. All we're going to do now is mix together the cream cheese and sugar with an electric mixer until the cream cheese gets nice and light and fluffy. Should take about 3 to 4 minutes of mixing it together with the sugar. Once that's done, we're going to add in a cup of sour cream. Again, JP comes to inspect. And then a tablespoon of vanilla paste or vanilla extract if that's all you have. Pour that in, and then also the juice of half of a large lemon. Now, as you can see here, in 1 second, JP grabbed a hold of my camera and tripod and started moving it. So apologies for the jostling of the camera, but I had to go correct that and tell JP to bugger off. All right, hold on. Let me just reset that. There we go. Yeah, sometimes he likes to mess up my camera. So anyways, after you add in the juice of half of a large lemon, mix that all in with the cream cheese and sugar, and then we're going to crack in 3 large eggs, and we want to mix them in individually. So crack one in, mix it in, crack the next one in, make sure you don't get any shells in like I almost just did there, and then mix that one in, and then just repeat it with the third one. You really want to make sure that the eggs are nice and incorporated in, so that's why I just do it one at a time and really make sure they're beaded in. And then once you've mixed in that third egg, it's time to mix in our crushed up mini eggs. So just go get your bag and pour all of them in. It's like 2.5 cups of crushed up mini eggs. JP's still getting excited over the mini eggs, and then just mix the mini eggs in with the cheesecake mixture. It's at this point in time that we're going to get out our 9-inch springform pan with the baked graham cracker crust, and we're just going to carefully pour in our cheesecake mixture on top of it. Scrape the bowl so you get it all in, and then just smooth it out with your spatula, and you're ready to start baking this. But before we do bake this, let's set this aside for 2 seconds and get out a large roasting pan, because we want to bake the cheesecake in a water bath. Another reason why we've covered the springform pan in aluminum foil. So throw the cheesecake in a roasting pan and then pour boiling water into the roasting pan until it reaches halfway up the springform pan, and then go throw this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake the cheesecake for the next hour to hour and 10 minutes until it comes out golden brown along the edges, but it'll still be a little bit jiggly in the center of the cake, as you can see here. Now, as you can see, there is just slight cracking, very slight cracking. It's not super noticeable, but we are going to cover it up with some whipped cream anyway. Now, really all we have to do now is let cheesecake cool down, and it does take a long time to cool down. Typically what I'll do is let it cool down for 1 hour at room temperature, and then 6 to 7 hours to cool down in the fridge. Really gives it enough time to set. And then after 8 hours or so, it's time to make some whipped cream for the top of the cheesecake. So start off with 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar and then a tablespoon of dried milk powder to stabilize the whipped cream, and then pour in a 1.5 cups of whipping cream into a large mixing bowl and whip it all together with your electric mixer until it forms whipped cream. It usually takes like 5 to 6 minutes, and all you're looking for is hard peaks of whipped cream, much like that on your beater. Look at that. All right, give me a second here. We're going to give the beaters to Rose so she can lick off the whipped cream, and then I'm just going to fill up a piping bag full of whipped cream and go get out my nice set cheesecake. Look at those cracks, you can barely even notice now. As the cheesecake has set, you can barely see the cracks, so let's just carefully lift off the spring form pan here. There we go, and we're just going to decorate the top of the cheesecake with Rose in the background with whipped cream on her face. So that's all I'm going to do to decorate it. And hold on, Rose wants some whipped cream. There you go, buddy. Let's draw a mustache on her. And then to finalize this, I'm going to just add on some whole mini eggs on top, just as an added layer of decoration. Rose in the background with some whipped cream still on her face. But there we go. We've got our mini egg cheesecake, a Easter treat. Look at this thing. Holy. And you can't even tell that it was cracked because we covered it up with whipped cream and mini eggs. Look at this beautiful thing. Oh, Rose has got a piggy bank for some reason. Anyways, that's a mini egg cheesecake. Super simple to make, and really the longest part is just letting it cool down. So I've cut off a slice here. It kind of got wonky, like it wasn't a nice clean cut, but that sometimes happens with cheesecake. You know, what are you gonna do? It still tastes good. So let's go in and taste test this, because as you can see, Rose is clamoring for a bite. Now, what I ended up doing is just letting Rose and JP taste test this whole thing. What we ended up doing is taking this over to Meg's parents. Oh, there we go. Look at the thumbs up from Rose. We took this over to Meg's parents for Easter, and they absolutely loved it. I loved it. But Rose really wanted to taste test it on camera, so I let her and JP run the taste test today. Look at that. JP is in a mood, but he still wanted to come over and try it. So one more piece for Rose here, and then watch. She's going to walk away with it. Anyways, guys, that's the end of the episode. I hope you like what you saw here today, and if you did, why don't you drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. Oh man, JP needs his face wiped. Anyways, thanks again for watching Idiot Proof Cooking, and we'll see you again soon.